So now we have to decide uh, whether the trend is good enough to consider as a pattern. Hello. Yes. Yeah, we can use a cutoff. So now based upon this, we have to come up with a conditional column, right? Whether we have a trend pattern as well as seasonal pattern, or we have a trend pattern, or we have a seasonal pattern, or we have a no pattern. So now that's the next challenge for you. So let's say 20%. So you have to convert this into in the form of the format, convert them into percentage. Yeah, I can reduce it at all. Maybe 10% now. And we can also try, after this conditional column is complete, we'll also try to apply a new time dimension for the trend. Instead of using 1 to 12, 1 to 12, we will use a continuous stretch of values for the time dimension to test our trend. Meanwhile, just complete this. Let's complete this. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's insert one more timeline column after row number 1. After row number 1, insert one more timeline column. And here we will not have the series of 1 to 12. Here we have a series of 1 to wherever it ends, continuous series. Right now we are getting high trend values. Is it?
So today we are actually here live to to discuss a very important topic of the supply chain, which is spend analytics. Spend analytics is something every supply chain professional or every supply
Yeah. So for seasonality, we will keep the previous time period only, the previous structure only, 1 to 12. For trend, we will use a new timeline. What we are doing is, for trend, we are going to go. For trend, we have this. We are going to use this one time period timeline. For seasonality, we are going to use. So I want to just check the 12. Is all okay? The 1 to 12, 1 to 12. Just correct. Correct. So let's insert the row here. Let's insert the row here. So here means the current timeline is in the row number 2. So insert one more time, insert one more row and give the series of 1 to 306. So we have two timelines, one for the trend and one for the seasonality. Now we can change our benchmark for trend, make it 30%. See the if you want to understand a trend, right? Trend means from beginning to the end, right? Correct. So now we have to change our benchmark. The benchmark is the conditional column. The conditional column make the trend. If it is trend, it has to be more than 30%. The point is 0.30. Okay, 0.30. So this can be changed, right? Because we have to do a lot of simulations. If we want to improve the accuracy, then we have to, we'll discuss more how to simulate this later on. So this is a very important process of the forecasting. Okay, is it okay now? Yes, what I'm saying is that this is an important part of the forecasting process to detect patterns, and to after detection of the patterns, we have to also do the benchmark. What should be our benchmark to decide whether we have a seasonality and whether we have trend. Seasonality is very straightforward. If it is 0, there is no seasonal. If it is more than 0, it is seasonal. It's very straightforward for the seasonality. For trend, right, we are seeing at least 30%, right? At least 30% trend we should have. So the entire data should have the entire data of for a specific industry should explain 30% trend. That's what we are saying. So now if you look at, yes, if you say no seasonality and S trend, the first, now we have most of the data. If you look at the 0.57%, right? 0.57% row number 14. In row number 14, you have minus 0.57%. This is, yes, no trend. So suppose if you are deciding that we have 30% trend, and we are forecasting, and the forecasting error is very high. For example, forecasting error is very high. So what we will do? We will increase the benchmark. The 30% is the trend, we'll make it 40%. So the forecasting error, the forecasting error versus the pattern benchmarks. Yeah, those chances the chances of getting the high accuracy or the lower error by reducing the benchmark will be very less. Okay, if you suppose we are reducing the benchmark from 0.3 to 0.2, right? In such cases where you want to improve your accuracy by reducing the benchmark, those kind of scenarios will be very less. Only so increase the benchmark. You can try it. That's for experimentation. You can definitely try that. No, there is no point in actually not trying that. But in practice, what we will see that because we have to improve the bench because we have to get exact patterns, perfect patterns, or near about because perfect patterns is not possible, but near about close patterns. If you want to reach near about close patterns, then what you have to do is you have to increase the benchmark. Suppose right now it is 0.3. We have to make it 0.4 or 0.5 or 0.6. If you make it tougher, you get more accuracy. If you are getting lenient, you get less accuracy. That's a pattern. But if you want to try and experiment and check from your own side, you will definitely try that from your side and you can check it. See the overfitting the variables, right? If you suppose we are trying to generate more accuracy, we're trying to go very close to the higher accuracy. We should be rational. We should be rational. We should not be irrational in doing that, right? But suppose but if you are getting closer to the, if you want to generate more patterns, right? If you want to understand the clear patterns, okay. So in that process, we should opt for a little higher, tougher benchmarks, right? Suppose if you are trying to make a benchmark from point 2 to point 5, right? This is not called overfitting. We are not trying to do the overfitting here. Okay. What we are trying to do is that we want to. Of course, the objective is to generate a forecast which is accurate. Of course, the objective is that. I'm not saying that's not the objective, but this exercise is not done for the overfitting. This exercise is done for the underfitting, because I want to make it more tighter. I want to make my forecast more tougher. So if I'm making my forecast more tougher, that's not the overfitting. Overfitting is that what you're getting biased. Overfitting is when you get biased to generate the accuracy. Right? I'm not getting biased here. But from the theoretical point of view, from the thought point of view, I'm not getting biased to get the accuracy. I'm getting unbiased here, making my problem more tougher. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is, suppose if you want to get a high accuracy, right? So then the exponential, single exponential smoothing, right? So what you do, you give a weightage to your the current sales and the previous forecast. The current sales and the previous forecast. So which one? So you are saying that the current sales have a higher weightage, or the previous forecast has a lower weightage, right? So previous forecast is lower weightage, the current sales is higher. So see, going up to 0.9, 0.95, right? So that is a stimulative process. So you cannot go with the point. Suppose if you are fixing that you want to go with 0.1, 0.2 as alpha, and 1 minus alpha is 0.9 or 0.8, right? Because 1 minus alpha is whatever is alpha, that is 1 minus alpha. So if alpha is 0.1, then 1 minus alpha is 0.9. So you want to give more weightage to the forecast, or you want to give less weightage to the sales, or you want to give equal weightages to the forecast and the current sales, or you want to go with the it is a simulative process. Right? Simulative process does not end at the forecast level. Simulative forecast will sometimes also will go into the demand planning process. Right? So we have to test what works or which particular number works very well. For suppose if I go with 0.2 and 0.8, as alpha is 0.2 and alpha is 0.8, because I am trained to not take the alphas very high, right? And in that process, if I get a very low forecast accuracy, I'm going to demand and I take the forecast to demand plan, and from demand plan I go into an operationalized gate, and then after putting into operations, what I see is that I'm not getting high accuracy. I'm getting either I'm getting too much of overstock or I'm getting too much of understock. Then the idea of overfitting fails here, because my final objective is to get get a demand plan, and the demand plan has to be very close to go to the actual sales. So what I have to say, my objective is to get the demand plan, and the demand plan has to be closer to the actual sales. And if my demand plan is closer to the actual sales, then I'm reducing my overstock percentage and understock percentage, and this is going to ultimately the two metrics are very important, the profit percentage, right? let's say the on-time delivery in full, the on-time delivery in full and cost of goods sold, right? These are two important metrics from the supply chain point of view that we need to get right. So don't worry about overfitting, underfitting, right? What you have to worry about, of course, the overfitting, underfitting is a part of the forecasting process. But ultimately, what we need to see is that our simulation which we will perform, our simulations and optimization which we perform in the forecasting, that has to generate a demand plan which is closer to the actual sales. So the simulation exercise will not, simulation optimization exercise for overfitting, underfitting or biasness will not end at the forecasting level, but will end at the demand plan and actual sales level. So here the idea is that what we are trying to do on this particular process by increasing the benchmark is that we are making the sales more tougher to detect the pattern. So this is not overfitting here. This is where we underfitting, because we are not giving suppose if I make my benchmarks 0.2% or let's say 20%, 20% gives me trend. But I will say no, I don't want 20% as trend. I want 60% as a trend. Means I'm making my forecasting process to evaluate the higher accuracy more tougher. Yeah, so this process, right? This process we will do after we achieve the final numbers. It's a forecasting error. This forecasting is high or mid. So after, suppose if you, of course, we are using a single benchmark for all the industries as of now, right? Suppose if this single benchmark which we are using is giving you the less error for all the industries, then you don't have to do double exercise or triple exercises. In case if suppose even after using the single benchmark for all the industries, we are getting the proper error, we don't have to do anything. In case we don't achieve the proper error, in some case we have too much of error, in that cases we will attack the industries based on that particular error. Then we will do the optimization to reduce the error by changing our benchmarks. So our objective is forecasting error, right? Our objective is forecasting error because we are doing a forecasting. So our objective is, from the statistical point of view, at this level is not the industry. My objective is to generate a forecast which gives me a model which will have the lowest error possible. So everything we will optimize, everything we will act based upon that error value. Not only we will see the industry later. First is our error. Error is our benchmark. And what we are doing, suppose the underfitting. If I reduce the trend benchmark, then that is called overfitting. In this case, if I reduce the trend benchmark, right, that is called overfitting. If I increase the trend benchmark, that's not called overfitting. That is, I'm making it tougher. Yes, it is very long trend, and that is not overfitting. If you reduce the trend value, suppose if you have 0.3, you make it overfitting. Right, so now we have made the process very simple, right, by just reversing the structure of the data. It was previously, if you go to data and if you try to achieve the same thing, it was very difficult. How would you achieve this? It's a very difficult thing. Right? But just reversing the structure of the data, putting the timeline in the row and putting the type of industry in the column, right, into this. Now we are actually in a position to complete our task at a single go. For multiple items in same, but for multiple items at the same, with just one single formula and dragging that formula upside down. So this is a trick which I was talking about, how to structure data. Once we have a structured data, then the trick is resolved. So this is one of the challenges for most of the companies where they want to do the forecast for multiple items. Suppose we talk about MRO industries, maintenance, repair, and operative products. So they have something like millions of items, millions of parts will be there, or maybe thousands of parts will be there, and for them they have to do the forecast. So thousands of parts, millions of parts in a minimal time. Right? So in that case, this particular structured, this particular data structure will be useful. We can do that also. Suppose if you want to group the items, right? But grouping the items based upon the there are two kind of things we can do. Initially, we can go with the grouping like categories, subcategories, right? Or by region. That also one of the grouping. Initially, we can do. Or we can group you can group like high value items and high value and high volume items, right? So whichever item which gives more revenue with the company, right, or more orders to the company in terms of volume, we can group in that way also. Or we can group in a structure like seasonal patterns, pattern wise grouping. So what is our grouping? Right? So it's not necessary that we have to group by region. That final grouping we can do after the forecast. Like if by region, by category or subcategory, we can do that at the end of the forecasting. But at the beginning of the forecasting, I want to do by category, subcategory, by region. At the beginning of that may not be a good strategy. Of course, we have to do the numbers at the end of the forecasting for subcategory, category, and region wise or customer wise, right? We have to give that at the end at the end. But that should not be. I will not suggest that should be the beginning of that categorization should be the beginning, because that we can start the categorization like high value, high volume, or high value or low volume, or low volume or high value, or low value and low volume. That could be one of the categorization, right? So we can find other categorizations also, which we'll discuss right now. So we have to think about the statistical categorization, not in the beginning. Later on, we can think about the categorical variable categorization. Like so, start with the statistical categorization and end with the variable categorization. Okay, so let's now find some more metrics for this data. Now I would like to. We have also discussed about the COV, right? Coefficient of variation in the beginning. So let's find it for each particular set of industry. Find the COV. No, we have used S, standard deviation for each for population. S is for standard. This is sample. Now we are standard deviation for B is for population. Yes, S is for sample. This one is sample. Now we are standard deviation for B is for population. Yes, S is for sample. This one is sample. Now we are standard deviation for B is for population. Yes, S is for sample. This one is sample. Now we are now we will categorize this. We will do the categorization of the COD. This if we define two categories, if it is more than let us 75%, it is having high variability or else low variability. For that what we will do, we will define that benchmark not in the formula, we will define the benchmark just about the absolute COD. Just write 75%. The column KZ, KZ2, KZ2 or 3 KZ. No, not there. Just write a value above ABS COD 75%. 75%. Okay. So we can change what happens. No, don't write any text here, only we need value. Cutoff you can write on the top because we will use that cell as a input reference. So we can change here, just we can change the number on that cell and we can just get new kind of output. So now write the formulas, conditional formula. If it is more than 70%, so we have to select 75% as a cell number. Or you can just give a greater than symbol. Greater than you can have your color code also. So here you can mention 75%. 75. Yes, you can give red one. Yeah, we can increase 100%, make it 100%. Not only 100%. Yeah, so we don't want too much of variability, right? So I think these are the areas where we need to, these are some of the areas we need to work because these are having very high amount of variability. And if there is a high amount of variability, it means very less amount of predictability. So if it's less amount of predictability means the chances of very high forecasting error. So now let's define a new column, in LA, and give that's a conditional column for us. There is variability in the column L, variability level. Level. Yeah, but we have to give a conditional statement. Conditional statement if it is more than 100%. 100% means our KG2. This cell KG2 is more than equal to KG2. Not right, don't write manually, select that KG2. KZ2, sorry. I have to freeze that. I'll do it. You have to give the else statement also. Give a else statement, low variability. Now what you have to do, you have to define your KZ2, right? KZ2 as you have to freeze the KZ2. Yes. No, wrong. I think that is wrong. You have to put dollar sign before K. $1 after before $1 sign you have put before K, and $1 sign become after K. Look the dollar sign. Yeah, the dollar sign. Check the dollar sign in the KZ2. Okay, it's fine, right? KZ2 means you have to put the dollar sign before Z, no? $1 sign before Z, not between Z and 2. Okay. Fine. So low variability, yes. High variability. Okay. Now let us reduce the benchmark. Make it 50%. Make it 50%. Instead of 100%, make it 50%. In the KZ2. In KZ2, make it 50%. Yeah. So now what we do, we're making it more tighter. It means we are reducing the chance of overfitting. Yeah, for that we need to be very sensitive about our forecasting process, because if there is high variability, it means the reason of why suppose we do not see any seasonality in this, right? If you look at, there is no seasonality in this. So there is a trend over here. The trend means it is because what is the trend here in this case? It is 98.40%. Can you see the trend for the particular row where we have 58% high variability? What is 98 point? It is going vertically up, right? It is going vertically at an angle of 45 degrees, right? If the particular trend is going at an angle, almost at an angle of 45 degrees. Yeah, yes, yeah. So since it is going up, it means the variability is very high. If it could have been a flat line, flat horizontal line, okay, it could have been a flat horizontal line, right? So what could have been trend could have been 0% or close to 0%. In that case, the variability could have been lower. So even if you look at, there are some values like in the first case where we have the 97% of the trend, first one, row number 4. Row number 4 is 15%, very low, right? So this means that there are some values. There are some values which are very close to the average. Most of the values are close to the average. So you can select the data and draw the draw a line chart for the first row number 4. Just row number 4, set all the values horizontally. Yeah. Control Shift and right arrow. Just take off up to the one more. Yes. Now go to line chart. No, line chart. Yeah, select the first one. No, it's the first one. The first one. Yeah. Look at here. If the average line, the ending part, right? The ending part is actually helping us. Pulls down. Yes. Higher. So the starting part and the ending part. Starting part and the ending part, right? They are very close to the average. Probably. So that's why it is, the absolute coefficient, the variability is 15%. Just take the second part, the 58% part. The same thing you can do for the row number where we have the variability of 58%. Let's see that also. Right? Correct. And this is steeper. Look at, this is steeper. The trend line is lot steeper. That is the reason why this variability is around 58%. Right? This is very steep. Now let's check the next one. That's 6364%. 6364%. Yeah, no problem. Take the first. No, take on the first. Take from the first. We want tell the data or the chart that there is nothing in the first. That has to come. Even first value has to come. So look at here. Right? This is having variability. Right. This is not right. And if you look at this is having a true variability. Correct. This could be a, like you can also a good candidate for ARIMA. Because ARIMA wants randomness, right? We want completely random data in the case of ARIMA. If there is any pattern present, that has to be eliminated. So we don't need to do any elimination here. Because this looks completely data which having no pattern. So this is a perfect candidate for ARIMA. Right? So wherever we have high variability, and we can actually plan for the ARIMA or simple exponential smoothing, then simple exponential and moving average could be a good candidate, or weighted moving average could be a good candidate. See, simple exponential smoothing is also like a weighted moving average. Simple exponential, correct. So that's what but it's considering the forecast. But in the case of simple exponential smoothing, we are considering the previous forecast and the current set. Right? But in the case of weighted moving average and moving average, we are only considering the historical values, no regard to the forecast. Simple exponential smoothing, which alpha into the current set plus 1 is alpha into previous forecast. Right? That is what the case with the simple exponential smoothing. But moving average, when we talk about moving average, it is giving equal weightages for the historical values. And if you go weighted moving average, then we give different weightages to the historical values. But in the case of weighted moving average and moving average, there is no reference of forecast. There is no weightage to the forecast, previous forecast. But in the case of single exponential smoothing, we're giving the weightage to the previous forecast. So that is what So we'll see all of them later on when we study in detail. So the challenge becomes tougher when we have the high weightage, high variability. And we have to go to date. Select the date from there. So this is third, right? Last class, yeah, 20. Yes. Tuesday, yeah, this is about 21. Did we have session on 20? June, this is for the consulting projects. 19 we have, I think 19 we have there, right? 19 and 21 we have. We have a session, we have the details on 19 and 21. Yeah. This is for different data, different data. This is for different data. Okay? Yes, you will get data set on the file section. Yeah, after this session, after this, after the window session, will take 15 minutes. Okay? So you have to wait 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you can go and you will be able to get the content ready for you. Okay, so we'll end. Files files are here. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow then. We'll end the session over here and we'll meet tomorrow. Anyway. Okay. Okay. See you tomorrow.